The new Black Wall Street. Do it right, build wealth, build life, economic empowerment, real tips, insight. The new Black Wall Street. It's on the new Black Wall Street. It's your host.
All right, my beautiful people, man. Good day to you. Good day to you. Good day to you. What a great day it is to be alive. Thank God that we are still here. Man, oh man, we're going to have a wonderful show for you here today, man, on the new Black Wall Street, as we're going to be talking about the wealth game. That's right, the wealth game. We're getting into conversation about stocks and real estate. And as hopefully you know, those are two key areas, areas that you might want to add to your portfolio as it relates to building wealth for yourself and for your family. I'm your host, ERGJ, your certified financial educator, CEO of ERGJ Enterprises, ERGJ Black Bazaar, an international best-selling author of the book, The Black Billionaires Club, which is a study of Black wealth, a study of the 12 richest Black people in the world today and how they built their wealth. And I just truly believe that if you want to be wealthy, that is a big F. But if you do, I recommend that you study wealthy people. You can find that book by simply going to the website www.theblackbillionairesclub.com, www.theblackbillionairesclub.com. Pick up the soft copy, pick up the ebook. We got it available in French for my brothers and sisters in the diaspora, and ebook and also audiobook. But here's the deal, guys. You can begin your study, right? You can begin your journey for as little as $25. Man, you can begin your journey to amassing wealth for as little as $25. And I tell you, man, one of the best $25 that you could spend. Hey, guys, while you guys are connecting, man, let us know where you're connecting from. We're broadcasting across the world wide web. That means that we're global, baby. Want to know where you're connecting from and just how far our reach is here today. We are broadcasting on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram Live, man. Just bringing the people something that they can use. Giving them something he can feel. That's right, man. Free financial education for the nation here today. Free financial education for the nation as we talk about the wealth game. That's right. We talk about the wealth game. I'm wondering, are you in the game? Okay. Are you in the game? Hit the like button, the share button if you care. The like button, the share button if you care. Let us know that you are your brother's keeper. You are your sister's keeper, because that's exactly what we are. And we want to do a good job of letting people know that we're here, no matter where they are, here on this beautiful, beautiful Saturday that we are actually broadcasting. Okay, let's do that. Let's do a favor and do that. Latia is in the house. Thanks so much for joining us here today on YouTube. Peace and love to you. Thanks so much for joining, Latia. My round the way girl from Philly is up in the house, man. Thanks so much for joining. Kinata is in the house. Thanks so much for being here today on the new Black Wall Street, man. What's up? What's up, Roberta? What, Roberta? Oh Lord. Is that Roberta Oski? Now, Roberta, we ain't got you on the fly up here, but if you're available to join us for this conversation, oh my goodness. And I know you did something last night or the night before, and I text you, and I don't know if you got my text or if you knew, because maybe my number disappeared out of your phone. He was like, I don't know who this is texting me, but that was me. And if the Miss Millionaire Mindset is here, this about to be banging. So, Roberta, if you're available, just let me know, because we definitely come on up in here. We talk about real estate, and you can talk about real estate too. Let me bring my guest in and make sure she don't mind. But I got a link for you. Roberta Hosky is in the house. What an honor. I mean, this little boy, young buck from Decatur, got Miss Millionaire Mindset on the stream. I must be doing something. My mama must be proud. So Roberta, what I'm doing is I'm putting something down here. It's a little link. As you may know, Roberta, feel free if you have the time. If this is your thing, go and come on into the lobby. We can make this a three-way party, man. But we talking about wealth, the wealth game. Everybody that you're joining, go and put in comments on the wealth game. I want to introduce our guest, our special guest here today. This woman is so filled with real estate knowledge, it don't make no sense. She's so filled with real estate knowledge, they call her SuperAgent. I don't know how she got that name, but that's her name, and it's trademarked. So y'all know we're going to be in for a good time here today. Hit the like button, share button if you care. The like button, share if you care. Man, let me bring in the SuperAgent herself. Miss Lisa Puerto is up in the house. Good day, Queen. How are you?
I am incredible. How are you, Evan? And hello, everybody. I am so stoked about today because it's, the infamous ongoing debate about stocks versus real estate.
Absolutely, man. And we're going to have a great time talking about it. And here's the deal, guys. Once you guys understand, we're going to be talking about the wealth game with stocks and real estate from a short-term and long-term perspective. You know, where we are right now in this current climate, short-term, long-term, some things that you might want to consider as it relates to whatever it is your strategy is, as it relates to, because I want you to have a wealth strategy. I want you to put together a plan on how you're going to build wealth for yourself. It may not be my same strategy, but your very own. And you start, putting the pieces together so you have a full-blown portfolio. That's exactly what we're talking about, man. Putting the comments below wealth game. Hey, Lisa Puerto, you're an author too. And last time we got together, you didn't tell them about your book. But if you could tell the people who you are, what you do, why you do what you do, and why the heck we should be listening to you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Evan. So I am a active real estate broker. I am a national educator, international published author, creator and founder of this country's first real estate focused nonprofit for the youth, SuperAgent, because I teach and train people to understand real estate literacy. I'm a literacy advocate first. So when we have more information, we can make informed and intelligent decisions as it relates to real estate. And I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely, man. Again, guys, for those that the super agent want to get some more content that's going on with real estate literacy, she's always putting out great content for you guys. Make sure you follow her on YouTube and also Facebook at LaSuperagent. Okay, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram at LaSuperagent. LaSuperagent. If you haven't already and you're on YouTube right now, just go ahead and do a quick little thing. Just going over there, hit the subscribe button, come on back, and then we'll continue along our conversation. We're talking about the wealth game. Everybody put a console on the wealth game. All right, the wealth game. So, Lisa, we this is what we consider to be next level conversations, I believe, and not many people will actually have next level conversations with people. And so, I really want people, those that are going to be with us here today, to understand, like this is this is all behind closed doors type of conversations, but we felt it was so pertinent to let the general public know, man, just how investors and people that's in business kind of think and look and see, what's going on in the world and how we pivot and make adjustments with our own strategies to continue to accelerate our wealth, the acquisition of wealth. Okay. And so, I'm big on stocks, and I'm the stock guy, and I teach on stocks. I'm an educator on stocks, and we have Lisa here, who's big in real estate. That's what she studies. Everybody putting console study. That's what she studies. And so I said, man, I can talk about real estate, but why not bring in an expert? That's all that she does is study real estate. So it makes sense, right? So you can want to connect with people who study in some particular area and they become experts in that area because of their study and then they're also their experience, right? So let's start with some literacy, I think, Lisa, because I think we want to make sure that people understand that with these assets that we're talking about. So I'll start with stocks and then you come back with real estate and we'll just kind of go from there. So for those that don't know what a stock is, okay? Again, hit that like button, that share button, that tag button. Let people know that we're here. It's free financial education. If you don't know what a stock is just basically a portion of a company, right? And a company, we're talking about something that provides products or services to the community in which you live. So now not every company offers stock to the public, but most of them do. And they're called public, right? Public companies versus private companies. So a public company will say, hey, we got this wonderful, great company, but we need capital to continue to expand what we do. And we can get that capital from the people by giving them a part or a piece of the company in which we built. And that's where stocks come from. So it's a capital generating tool that gives you ownership. Everybody putting console ownership. It might be a small little piece of ownership, but it's ownership nonetheless. And with that ownership, you get actually rights. You get voting rights. You can go to the investor calls and you can actually vote on governance and vote on their next moves and stuff like that. You actually get rights. Most people don't take advantage of those rights because we know you get the right to vote. Everybody don't vote. That's okay, but you do have that right. and you are actually in the know. Everybody putting comments on in the know of what's going on with that company. They send you emails. Hey, we got a shareholder meeting. Everybody don't get that email, right? They let you know what's going on with their dividend if they're paying it. They kind of let you know what's going on with their outlook and with their finances. You become in the know as much as you want to be in the know as it relates to that particular company that you may have decided to invest in. And so that's, I guess, a big breakdown of stock. And hopefully I broke it down to a point that you understand it. But at the end of the day, it's ownership. It's a small ownership in some company that you deem to be valuable. Lisa, man, what the heck is real estate?
Great question. It's one of the questions that I ask the kids. I ask them, have you heard of this term, real estate? And I'll get some head nods, no, they don't know. And some will say yes. And usually most people will immediately say, oh, it's a house, right? It's a house. But real estate refers to real property. So these are tangible, what we call assets. Depending what your strategy is, it can be an asset or it can be a liability. And I think we'll get into that discussion a little bit more today. But essentially, make it real simple. It's commercial. It's divided into sectors, but it's essentially what I like to say is the entire world. It's the economy. For our folks on here, we know we've been at war over land since the beginning of time, and we're talking about real estate. Real estate, if you want to get technical with what it actually is, real estate is contract law. It's secured by real property. So we're talking about a legal aspect of tangible assets in the form of real estate. So simple enough, tangible assets, commercial, industrial, manufacturing, residential, and agriculture is real estate sectors.
Absolutely, man. So again, guys, we wanted to make sure, for those that I invited or those that might know that we're here, I wanted you to bring three things. I wanted you to bring your questions, I wanted you to bring your notebook, and I wanted you to bring your popcorn. Okay. Again, the three things I wanted you to bring to this broadcast: a free financial education for the nation. I wanted you to bring your questions, wanted you to bring your notebook, and I wanted you to bring your popcorn. Because y'all know y'all gonna have a good time learning tonight. Go ahead.
I ate all my teacups.
You ate all your teacups? Hey, man.
I ate all my teacups before we started.
No, I don't know why you got all hungry before we got going. I don't know what your problem was. What's going on?
Yeah, sure did.
What's going on, Destiny? How are you? Thanks so much for joining. Everybody putting the land going on. Frederick, thanks so much for joining. Everybody putting the console the wealth game. We're talking about the wealth game. Now, Lisa, now, some people may think we're going to be like battling on which one is better and all this stuff. We're not. That's not going to happen. To me, that's a mute conversation, because I believe you should have both if you can afford it, if you want it, right? So right now, let me give you an idea as it relates to the wealth game. I'm actually working with my parents, and I'm saying to them, okay, you're getting ready to retire. You've saved us some money. What are we going to do to make sure that you have a get-rich portfolio? And so inside that get-rich portfolio, I say, okay, let's look at where we are in the market now. Okay, boom, stocks. All right, but what about some property we might want to own, right? How soon can we get the house paid off so it becomes owned by the family, right? Or are we going to look at quite possibly some other type of investment in real estate, right? So we're having these conversations, and hopefully, right, through something like this, you can begin to have a conversation with your parents. Because here's the reality that this just came to me, Lisa. I mean, this was a hard slap in the face. One of those realities that you're like, wow, that's where I am right now. Where I am right now in life is I have to be concerned about taking care of my previous generation and my next. Right? My mom took care of me to where I am right now, and it's been all been saying low. And my father too. But when we get to that point, we're like, wait a second, they're getting older. And then now I become what my mother and my father were, and I got to take care of them to their dying days. And then I must also take care of the next generation. How many guys are actually in that position right now? You find yourself in that position. I got to take care of me. I got to take care of them, and I got to take care of my kids. That was we know it's coming, Lisa, but it was a real like boom, like, oh, It's here. What's your take on
Psycho life? Psycho life.
the cycle of life? Talk us a little bit about the cycle of life.
It's the cycle of life. I literally was having this conversation. I think it's a regular conversation for me in terms of the cycle of life, especially because being in real estate, and I've always wanted to be in real estate since I was 10, 11 years old. Just I'm first generation born here in the America, in the United States. My family's not native to this country. My family's originally from Belize, Central America. And our journey and venture into ownership and achieving and acquiring real estate and doing that, for me, in retrospect, is now as I see things now, as I'm getting older, and I've got kids and my parents and my grandparents, I'm clear of who my bosses are, if you will, right? Who's my boss? I just had this discussion with my son the other day, and he was kind of watching just kind of me making these adjustments to him being home, or not home, but now, yeah, being home now, right? Because we're shelter in place. Fortunately for me, in terms of positioning as a business owner, he's been with me, so I've been accustomed to having him with me. And so as we look at this for an extended period of time, he and I are having this discussion, and he said, "Mom, are you worried about being fired?" And I said, "No, Poppy." I said, "No." And I kind of pointed out to the license on the wall, and I showed him the name. I showed him, the address, and I said, "What does it say?" And he was gathering the concept or conceptualizing that, I'm in business, I'm an owner, I'm the boss, etc. And in that discussion, we were also, me and my, by the way, 8-year-old son, who's absolutely sharp. Most of I always share that my son's been in real estate since utero, because I've been doing it over a decade. And, seeing the cycles of life, not just with what we go through, that we know at some point, depending if you operate from a village mindset. And I have to qualify, I have to disclaim that, because I'm learning more and more that not everyone is operating with a village mindset within their own family. They don't have this mindset that I'm going to take care of my parents and I'm going to take care of my grandparents. For me, that's a non-negotiable. It's not even like a question. I know it, setting it up, working towards that. And then I have my children, which is the next generation, and then planning for their generation, et cetera. So that cycle of life, we know that's coming. We know that happens. And I see it more and more as the clients I work with, especially in their mid 30s, and they have aging parents or older parents where they're purchasing property and they're caretaking their parents as well. Parents aren't working. And we're having just a different definition of family and cycles of life. And as that relates to the cycle of real estate or the economy, same thing. We're in a cycle right here. And you and I had this discussion where people are fighting and they're calling it abnormal. This is not an abnormal. It is very normal to have booms and busts, recessions, peaks, troughs, depression. That is economics, which is, by the way, my favorite subject. I took AP Econ in high school and passed it. It was awesome. Macro, microeconomics, you guys.
All right, man. Yeah, absolutely, man. Cycle, man. That's 2 things I wanted you to put. Number one, press 1 if you hit the like button. Press 2 if you already shared as well. All right, I'm my brother's keeper. The question is, are you? I'm my sister's keeper. The question is, are you? And we got people that are connected to us that's been looking for information like this, right? Been looking to have these conversations, not know where to find it, and they're just 1 degree of separation away, and that 1 degree is you, right? Number 2, putting the comments on cycle. Right, we understand this, right? You're like, wow, whoa, I'm aging, oh Lord. And many of us, we may not really, like consciously think about that, right? That's not our. We don't feel like that's our position in the family that we have. It's getting real. Okay, I don't know how old everybody is that's watching. I'm assuming we're probably 5 to 10 years apart, up or down, but it's getting real. Okay, it's getting real fast. Okay, now. This is interesting, Reese, because I think that especially if we talk about our community, most of our community will be probably more understand more about real estate than they do stocks. It seems like that's the thing. We've got to be able to touch it and feel it and see it, to know that it's real. And that's one area that, at the very least, we've known to kind of go into. In the comments below, I'd like for you to tell me, what kind of advice that you've gotten from Big Mama or anybody like that. They say, hey, at the end of the day, get you some property, get you some real estate. What were some of the things that your parents or your grandparents or your great grandparents said to you as it relates to wealth, or however it is that they put it? Because they might not have said it like that, but they'll say something like this: they ain't making no more land. That's what they'll say, right? They ain't making no more land, so you might as well get some while you can, right? What are some of the things that you've heard that your parents, your grandparents, your elders have said to you as it relates to the acquisition of wealth and what we're going to call the wealth game, right? What are some things that have been said to you? We want to actually kind of bring that conversation up. Lisa, as you were growing up, obviously you kind of got into real estate, became something that was you become fond of, you become a researcher of, you become a study of. You got so much going on, real estate and all that stuff. What really got you fired up about real estate?
Great question. What got me fired up about real estate? So aside from, it's okay. So my background, I think, is easy for me. Growing up in a 1-bedroom apartment with 6 to 10 people as revolving doors at a time. It's a lot of people. You think about space, having your own space. And of course, this was a 4-plex. So not only were we in a tight space, but the neighbors were in a tight space. But we're all living and enjoying life, and we don't know any different. I'm an 80s baby, so I'm a depression baby anyway. So I'm very fond of I'm very familiar with cycles. And so it wasn't until, I would say, in terms of fire, Evan, like true fire, was 2008, when I saw a fear-based program infused into the common people, into your everyday working class people. That I got fired up is because at that time I was already in the business. And when the financial crisis happened, I realized I was spending more time consulting clients to remove and dispel fear.
Lisa, when you say you was already in the business, what do you mean?
In real estate.
I mean, yeah, you was already. There's a lot of different ways.
I was already an active agent. I was already actively doing business, selling, and buying real estate at that time.
Okay, go ahead.
So at that time, doing consultations, I found myself spending so much time breaking down misconceptions, fear-based programming as to why people didn't want to do it anymore. They don't want to experience what happened. And that just continued to perpetuate. So I think my fire really came from then. And then ultimately we started to shift, me and the folks that I started to partner with, started to shift the focus to, well, if we don't want our next generation to experience what our predecessors experienced in terms of loss, right? Because it was mainly the people, our community, right? That was the hardest hit, like we'll see right now, hardest hit. And I'm not even, and I'm just speaking, I can talk about specifically state California, but what I'm seeing, the conversations I'm privy to right now, broker panels with National Association of the Real Estate Trade Organizations, with Redfin, Zillow, where they're halting operations, they're pulling out, they're creating addendums. I mean, what is happening behind the scenes right now is very novel.
Okay, hold on a second. We're going to get to that because I really want you to go into what's happening now, right? I got to put that in here, but let me get these comments because we're going to get really into this, guys. Now, again, 3 things I wanted you to come with today, right? Your questions, right? Your notebook, right? And your popcorn, right? You got all 3 of those things, so we're going to hop into this thing. Y'all going to be like, oh, Lord, this is like a movie. I can't believe it's right before my eyes. Like, you need the popcorn. Don't sleep on the popcorn. Wait. But here's some interesting things here. Yogi Powell's here. Thanks so much for joining, Yogi. Miss Powell. Nope. Both my parents are married and neither listen to anything I have to say about money or investing. So I just do me. Wow. This is where we are. I mean, we can be honest. Okay, let's keep going. Miss Aisha Alexander, no advice. Family doesn't talk about money, so I decided to educate myself to share the knowledge.
That's right.
This is where good. Hey, shout out to Miss Alexander, be on the Money and Power show, I believe, next Thursday, to talk to us about the stuff she's gonna talk to us about. So I look forward to that, man. That's 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We come on Monday through Friday. Shout out to Miss Alexander. I got an interesting story about Miss Alexander because she's been catching up on the whole stock investing thing, and she's thanks so much for choosing to come on and be a part of this journey along with us. Monica said, man, rob Peter to pay Paul. Never had any advice to achieve wealth or keep it. This is our community, guys. It's no wonder why we find ourselves where we are as a community. If just this portion of comments, and this is what we're getting. Like, it's getting real fast. Okay. Hey, Desmond Russell, my mom always told me to go to school and own a home. As y'all said, my grandfather was a late bishop. He showed me what not to do. Own a bunch of land and have no plan on passing it down. Oh, wow. This is serious. Okay. Wow.
Is that he showed me, as in that's because he didn't have a plan in place? Was that what she learned from that?
I believe that's what she's saying. As she watched him, this is what she gathered. He had a whole plan, but no plan on passing it down. Right. So now we're talking about estate planning. Right. And
we're gonna remind me to the conversation, the call that I got yesterday. Remember, we talked to the phone call I got about the estate planning. Like, people are literally now it took COVID-19 to urge people to start preparing for death.
And Destiny, oh man, you got some interesting take too, because you were saying about how, and again, let me put this link, because again, this is not a me show, this is not a us show, this is actually everybody. And I don't know if, I guess Roberta kind of left, but Destiny, I'm gonna put this link up for you as well, and also Aisha, if you want to come in, and at some point and share some stuff, because Destiny is in the mental health, and she was saying that she's been having some interesting conversations come in on that side about what people are concerned about. So I definitely love to get your take as we're talking about the wealth game. And how many of you guys know that wealth begins in the mind? Everybody put that.
I'd love Destiny to come on. Destiny, get your stuff together.
Yeah, begins in the mind. So Destiny, there's a link there for you. Aisha, Miss Alexander, link there for you as well, if you want to come on and share some thoughts and bring some insight to what we're talking about here today. But wealth begins in the mind. And so we see, our community, that whole mind shift to wealth, it hadn't been happening until 40, 50, 60, maybe never. Right. I mean, this is real fast. Now, when I was young, my mother advice was have a credit card, will trap. Wow. Wow. Oh, driving right now. Okay, no problem, Destiny. So I want to come back to you, Miss Puerto, SuperAgent. Because we want to talk about now. What's right now? So right now, let me put this in there right here. Right now, what's happening now? Before we can start talking about short-term, long-term thinking, we got to understand what's happening now. So as it relates to real estate, and then I'll share stocks after you, as it relates to real estate market, right? The real estate market just means where people buy and sell. Real estate market, what's happening now in your industry?
So it's very interesting what's happening now, because prior we weren't tracking as much data on loans, inventory. And so what is really fascinating to me right now is that government officials that are issuing the stay in place or safer at home orders, effective through April. And it's interesting that the definitions of essential workers are varying per state. And specifically, we have been ordered as brokers and agents in California, also New York, some other states are rolling it out for us to cease all sales activities. Stop doing business.
That I just that so I mean that's a big call to make, especially number one, we have so many that rely on real estate transactions for livelihood to be able to buy the property and then sell it, make being that transaction. And you also have so many pseudo businesses that build off of,
Directors, we talked about that.
the plumber,
We train that.
and all that stuff, right? So how big of a deal is this?
It's huge. And my calm and this smile in my face is so that we can have a very logical discussion, because I'm not here to create panic. I really want to create a space where we can really conceptualize what is happening and what this is projecting to happen in the next 18 months to years. Okay, because we are looking at getting back to reduction in pricing from 29 years ago. And I don't realize, I'm baffled. I'm processing this because I'm baffled that government officials are saying, for some states, no, real estate is absolutely essential. It's important. And some other states, they're saying it's not. And so I then question, especially when we get into the stocks aspect of it, how do you have banks open, wholesale lending still open, title open, settlement open, escrow open, but the agents cannot perform their duties? So this really is convoluted right now. And so what I've seen, I mean, it's so loaded right now. So allow me to just give you pieces of information because there's so much that is happening in real estate right now, from a business aspect and from a consumer aspect, meaning you as a seller, buyer, and an investor who is actively doing business right now, meaning if you have leveraged or you have over leveraged by borrowing money to flip properties, you're going to have a liquidity issue if you're in a market that has just called for ceased sales activities. So let's just chew on that. Let's just process that for those flipping and buying, fix and flips, because now you are identified by the IRS tax code as a dealer. And I've talked about this on my phone. There's three segments on the IRS tax code. You're a real estate professional, you're a dealer, or you're an investor. Real estate professionals, you're transacting the sales, the buying and selling of real estate. The second aspect from the IRS standpoint is you're a dealer, which means you are doing the short term, and your homes, your properties are considered your inventory, and they're listed as inventory on your sheet, on your Excel, whatever you're using for tracking. They're listed as your inventory and you're taxed differently. Your third aspect of real estate is you as an investor, which means you are using long-term strategy. You may be a buy and hold. You may be leveraging 1031 exchange, and that's a whole nother level. You may be using DSTs. That's a whole nother level where you may be investing in commercial leases or earning dividends. But right now, as we see what's happening in terms of the pause and moratoriums, meaning if people start to snowball in defaulting on rents and mortgages, then there's a moratorium that can evict them. There are no repercussions. There are no waiving fees. But the question is, that right now as it stands does not apply to investors, those owners of multifamily properties. Because for some reason, people think landlords have sufficient reserves to maintain their properties and the tenant that may not be paying rent.
Man, this is a lot to digest. I really don't. Let's try to. I really don't think this is going to be very difficult to get through this. Because so here's the deal.
It really is. It really is.
Because I was thinking about, I've seen some people, they just got into this game. You know what I mean? They did a rehab. They're putting something out on the market like, yes, I got my first, my second, the third property is ready to go. But if they're leveraging money that they don't own, right? Other people's money, which is what the strategy is that's being used. And that money, let's just say it's a 6-month term on this short-term loan because you're supposed to get it, take care of what you got to take care of, get that thing out and pay that money back to that. And it's not even to a bank. These are hard money lenders. Now, when I think of hard money lender, I go back to the old days. You messing with the the mafia and stuff, but they're probably that. But my point is, now you can find yourself in a position.
10% rates. They're really short, and they're very specific, right? So proceed with caution. What I imagine when I pose this question about what's happening with will hard money lenders suspend the interest on those hard money loans for 60 days so that the owner who's flipping that property can weather this storm? Will they have some type of safe haven? I can hear it. I can only imagine that they're going to say, well, you do know that investing in real estate is a risk, and it is riddled through our 15, 16-page contracts. We have many disclosures, addendums, and advisories that says how risky real estate is, that says how there are no guarantees in real estate. So there may be this backlash that says, hey, you leveraged it. It's on you. It's on you. And so here's the other caveat to that. So if the backlash becomes from the top down to the investor, the private owner who is taking properties that, mind you, what fix and flip, what investors do is they fix and rehab properties that may not, and shout out to my ethical investors, because I also and I can say this I can say this here because I've said it already publicly. I'm not fond of iBuyers, and remind me to come back to that shortly, because those are the big companies like Redfin and Zillow who are using iBuyer, and they've been using algorithms to do cash offers, etc. I'll come back to that. But for your private investor who's fixing and flipping, has a history, has been doing it ethically, pulling permits on the property, and they're able to fix a property that would originally a buyer could not get financed with the traditional loans offered by the banks. So now the investor is on the hook. So in order to weather the storm, do they get the opportunity then to put a tenant in there for a short term until the market picks up and then they can sell that property? But if you're in a state like California and New York that just enacted statewide rent control, we have this thing called no fault evictions, which means you will now have to pay to relocate a tenant that you put into your property.
Man. So we're talking about what's happening now. And investors are on that end. They have a short term, it's a short term strategy, right? Fix and flip.
Dealers. Let's use the right terms. Let's use the right terms on the show right now, because I have, everyone wants to call themselves an investor, but if you're not doing it long term, you're not an investor. Okay. You're a dealer. You fix and flip, you're a dealer.
All right, dealer. All right, let's get there, because they come with questions already. So this is a great idea question. So they cause they cease activity, but they're giving away these 0% loans. They're not 0% loans, by the way. That's the
they're not 0% loans.
That's the banks that get 0%, not you. Okay, the banks borrow for 0%, and then they can actually lend it to you for more. That's how banks.
And interest rates, by the way, have gone up. So interest rates for mortgages have actually trickled upward. And if you're not familiar with the relationship between real estate price and interest rates, they have an inverse relationship. What does that mean? When prices go down, rates go up. So the question I pose to clients and people is, how much do you want to pay to borrow money? Do you want to borrow money cheap? Because right now, historically, since the previous, down market, it has been low. And so it's cheap to borrow money right now. It's not going to be cheap forever because, you know, we know that it can't keep going so low because nobody's making money. This economy has been struggling for a minute, you guys. There's been a big band-aid over the economy in terms of how we've been performing. We've been on the largest expansion in economic history of the United States. 11 years expansion. We typically go to 7 to 10 year cycles, but we've been pushing the bar. So if you are in real estate, you're talking about real estate, and you feel like you're going to ride the real estate wave, you're going to it's going to keep going up to the top, you're delusional. You're delusional if you're not recognizing that real estate is cyclical.
So we got back to cycles. So real estate is cyclical, stocks are cyclical. So what is this 0% thing? So if the banks are getting money at 0%, that's in order for them to be able to lend it out, right, to buyers, I guess. Or I mean, because you're not lending money to sellers, right? Or you're lending money. I mean, so who is this for then? If it's not really for dealers, right? And we're in a buyer's market, but it's not. But the agents aren't out there to be able to actually transact and make deals so that somebody.
And this is why I was just talking about that. So some people wanted, you know, some people, depending where your markets are, you can say, no, I'm not. You know, we're still in the seller's market. We're still active, right? So as we start to see this trickling effect across the nation with ceasing activities, sales activities, because if you have a property you just listed, as a matter of fact, I saw a colleague yesterday just listed a $1.1 million property that is a fix and flip. So if you've just been ordered and you're in a state that you've been ordered to cease activities, where's your buyer coming from? Where's your buyer coming from? So the demand for buyer is increasing because what I'm seeing in the ground, behind the scenes, is companies, investors, people are pulling out. I think it's interesting on who controls the information. And we go back to media, which is why I always source information. Who's putting out the information and why are they putting that out? And the reason being is because they don't want to create this. They don't want to accelerate panic. But here's the thing. I think by ceasing activities, you're going to accelerate panic because now people are going to say, well, why are we, you know, I thought we can get through this, but now we're not selling and buying property. We're not transacting the transfer of ownership, which is in fact an essential need in housing where people have to sell or buy because someone's died, someone's relocating, right? Job relocation, marriage, divorce, life events trigger real estate need. That's been my tagline that I've been saying for some years now. Every life event triggers a real estate need.
Wow.
It's so funny that I could feel my face change, y'all. I was smiling, but when I process this and I share this with you, this stuff is so, it's going to cut so deep. It's going to cut so deep.
Absolutely, man. Everybody put out for a while. So, we kind of touched on this earlier, you know, in our private conversation, but, you know, where do you really see real estate going? Like, I mean, because what I kind of how I look at things, when we have these situations, there's always a shift in how business is done. So as it relates to how business will be done moving forward, so that we can not repeat history, we can say, okay, well, this is what we learned.
No, we're going to repeat history because we're human beings and we have short-term memories. And I'm going to say that because I saw the same factors we have in now as in 2008, and people in my intimate circle and people I consult with, people I train that are part of club, they have access to this information because I've already seen the symptoms and I've been saying this for years. So I called this in 2018, of September of 2018. I called this out in the first quarter of 2020 that this was going to happen and that it was going to be something outside of real estate. It had to be something outside of the real estate market. We were already having this discussion. Why? Because guess what? Stated loans came back. What are stated loans? Stated loans are the loan products that basically say, I am not going to verify that I have sufficient income to qualify for that purchase. I can do bank statements and I can state how much I qualify for. You can do that product. That product came back and it still came back at a higher interest rate. But guess what? It came back. That product was in existence then. We started giving people stated, and when I say we, I'm talking about the industry, the real estate industry, started to give stated loans. So we have a short-term memory, right? Because why? We do cycles. This is nothing new under the sun. It's just, new faces, right? We're new players to it, right? It's now Evan and Lisa's turn to go through what the last generation went through. Because mind you, when my folks purchased in 94, interest rates were 10%, 12% on a property that was 110,000 back then. So again, you see how that works. Prices are down. If you guys want the market to crash, right? You want double digit numbers to drop. This is what you're waiting for. Then the cost to borrow money, 10 and 12%. When I go back and look at the property owners that own property right now, that may be selling, and they bought their property for $30,000. They've owned their property for 45 years. Do you know what their interest rates were? It wasn't 3.5 that we're getting frantic about. Oh my God, it went up to 3.7. It went up to 4. Are you kidding me? Folks paid interest rate. I mean, they were listen, when you really conceptualize how banking works, money works, stocks works, because guess what? When the market crashed, it was the mortgage-backed securities are being traded and bought and sold on Wall Street. So you are participating in Wall Street. And then guess what? When they realized we had a shadow inventory, and this shadow inventory was, they're saying there was a whole bunch of homes that were sitting on the market that the banks were not foreclosing on. What happened to that? Well, guess what? Wall Street realized it was more strategic to take those and create portfolios, and they basically rented them back. And this is why we are now, right? Wall Street is your landlord. You may be in a property that you're renting from a company that was created out of an investment firm that is trading stocks, and it's being backed by you, the tenant, who's paying 2 times as much of the rent that you did before the market crashed.
I told you I was getting real fast, man. I hope you got your I hope you got your questions, your notebook, and your popcorn. I told you I'm over here just got my pop. So Frederick Adams asked, hey, do you think the foreclosures are on the way?
They're always on the way. Let me give you a quick statistics about foreclosures. In an area, statistically, has 5% foreclosure rate. So 5% of the properties, you can take 5% of the properties in an area are have notice of defaults. Those are the pre-foreclosures, albeit their mortgages or taxes. What I do see an increase is what we thought, this transfer of wealth from our older generation to our younger generation. Our younger generation is not as savvy and educated to manage the estate and portfolio. We've been seeing this on Instagram and the meme that the 30-year-olds, the 20 to 30-year-olds who are inheriting property from grandparents are losing the property because they're not paying the property taxes. And I'm saying this with no judgment. I'm helping people in those scenarios right now. As we're talking about what's happening right now. I'm helping young adults preserve their estate. And I did this as a presentation. Know the difference between share of sale and trust sales. Are you a share of sale state, or are you a trust sale state? Understand the difference, because when you understand the difference, you know the laws of the land, that if you don't pay your taxes in your state for 5 years, it's going to go to auction, and then you have a redemption period. Places like Georgia, oh, you guys have a very, very low to zero tolerance when it comes to redemption period. And I did a whole schedule about that. There's a whole schedule that we did on the webinar in terms of learning the laws of the land, in terms of what your redemption period is. Let me explain redemption period. That is how much time you, as the owner, can actually go back and make up and recover, redeem the past due amount and recover your property. So here's why it's very, very risky to invest in tax lien states, because you need to understand what the redemption period is. You need to be very careful, because why? You go and purchase a property, you rehab it and fix it, and guess what? So and so went and got a hard money and borrowed it, redeemed the amount, paid it in full, and they coming at the door and said, "Hey, guess what? I want my house back." And by law, they can claim it. Thanks for fixing it.
Man, this is why we need was it real estate education or something like man, I don't know what happened to Roberta, man. She sure would have came with some fire. Can you you said this word estate. I'm not gonna assume that everybody knows what that is. What is an estate?
So the estate is essentially you as an individual. We all have an estate, right? And if we're not putting something in plan, the state, your state, is deciding what's going to happen to leave the state. And I know because, especially with the African Ascent community, we have been bamboozled and swindled when it comes to paperwork and document. We are not as trusting when it comes to creating living trusts. We're not as trusting when it comes to creating wills. And wills, depending where you are not going to protect you or avoid going to probate court. So the estate is essentially is what you own. What do you own? 150,000 and more minimum is you should have some type of estate planning. Specifically, if it has real estate, you should have an estate plan set up. Because then we end up we end up fighting. The heirs end up fighting over who gets the china and the spoons and the china cabinet and all the other stuff. So it's just interesting. I mean, because Evan, I actually wanted to do this when this as we working on the real estate boot camp, when we have when we get back into our new way of living and doing business, right? As we get into our new way of living, doing business, I said I wanted to take my older group, my 18 and older real estate youth group. I wanted to take them to the courts so they can sit in the probate room and they can hear the court cases. They can hear how people, what are they disputing? The fraud that's being committed. People, I mean, it's just real. Take your time and go sit in the court. And if you really want it to get real, just go sit in court and just see how quickly court starts at 9. The judge gets in at 9 o'clock, right? We're all settled, check-in, sworn in. By 9 o'clock, the judge is in. And guess what? By 9:15, they've gone through easily. By 9:15, in 15 minutes, they've easily covered about 20 cases.
Man, so we got a lot of education we got to do here. So Destiny said, "Hey, man, I was considering selling my house, but it sounds like I can't. Nor is it a good idea. What's your thoughts on? It's a buyer's market, but finding a buyer, it's crazy." Any thoughts on where her position? She's in California too, by the way. On her position with her current property.
Yeah. So the question is, especially if you're a first-time buyer, and this is what I do in terms of consulting and strategy. With this question, especially in this market, and when did you buy, and how did you buy? And we also talk about if you utilize down payment programs. So if you're a first-time buyer and you utilize a down payment program, you will probably walk away with no money if you sell your home in less than 3 years. Okay, let's be very clear. Down payment assistance programs, some of them have stipulations. Some of them are not as true down payment assistance programs. I'm actually really excited right now that I have access to a true grant program for the full 3.5% down. And there are a lot of programs, but as we're evolving in this market, I'm always looking at ways that I can help buyers get their foot in the door. So the question becomes, if you're utilizing a DPA program, a down payment assistance program, and depending where you're purchasing, I always ask this question: do you plan to be there for at least 3 to 5 years? Because right now, the new average of staying in a property is 7 to 10 years. It used to be 5 years. It's starting to increase because of what's happening in the economy over time. That has increased where people are now having to stay in their property. Why? You don't have sufficient equity to pay off your high balance loan. High balance is considered if your property is worth 500 and your loan is 480. $20,000 in equity, and I haven't calculated broker's fee. I haven't calculated cost of closing the deal. And sometimes, and this is, and I don't want to go, I don't want to go too deep, but then that's what we're going to end up seeing for people who need to sell and who need to buy is the pre-foreclosures, foreclosures, and short sale. All right. That's going to be that's our market. That's what we see. And not only that, in a time during the crisis where people who bought high and they were feeling the stress because they didn't understand what negative equity was, not understanding what negative equity was. So if you purchased your house at 500,000 and the market dips and your house is now worth $300,000, you're going to take that real personal. You're going to take that real personal. But what you should be doing is consider a loan modification. Anyway, that's another class.
Absolutely. So we got some people here, man, that's in California, San Francisco, Oakland area, Frederick Adams. We got
Bay Area. Okay, Bay Area.
San Francisco.
By the way, let me put this in perspective for the Bay Area. And I'm sure you can kind of just confirm this. So right now we know the state of California, specifically LA, has the worst homelessness crises in the state. And some statistics in terms of the Bay Area, San Francisco, that area, if you earn 110,000, if you earn below $110,000 annually, that is the poverty line. 110, you're poor. You're considered poor by the standards of San Francisco.
So this is good stuff, man. Because we ain't even really we just talking about what's happening now, the climate with Rona Rice is on the rise and the different decisions that are being made as it relates to how to proceed moving forward. And I'll say this, even as you were mentioning some, that in this game of wealth, those similar strategies are for real estate as they are for stocks. And so just kind of give some people, I did have a question because you mentioned equity. I think it's important for people to know what equity is. So if you can define equity for people as well, because we're doing some literacy up in here, some financial education for the people. And
y'all listen, y'all better be taking notes. Listen, for all those who say, I want to do real estate. I want to do real estate investing. Are you taking notes? Because I've covered short sales, foreclosures, pre-foreclosures, tax sales, tax liens, redemption periods. Now we talk about equity, right? Short sales, equity. I talk about probate. Those are all types of sales, standard sales. These are all still types of real estate sales, you guys. Real estate as a whole doesn't stop. Standard sales become now maybe short sales, depending what market you're in. So let's talk about that as we talk about a shift in the market. Equity essentially is the difference between what you owe on the home and the value. What is your home appraised for? What is appraised for? If your home's appraised, I'm gonna use 500,000, California. A median price point is 525,000 in California, requiring two incomes essentially to qualify for that. About $135,000 is what you need with 20% down on a $500,000 purchase price, right? So 20% down, that's essentially, you need to come with $30,000 just to put the down, not including the additional for the closing costs. There's a way to negotiate that. Get an awesome real estate professional to help structure that and negotiate that. I'm just putting those things into perspective because if you, depending what your strategy is, are you the homeowner which is why maybe going unit is a better option for you, because you can leverage units and then go the other way. Have your tenants buy your dream house, buy your single family, instead of going the other way. But it depends on what your risk temperament is, what your motivation is for real estate. What is your goals? All right. It's just more than you saying, I want to be a homeowner. And so I lovingly say that understanding your equity, especially for someone who, when we look at what we call the cash on cash return on investment, since we're talking about stocks and wealth building investing, if you're bringing out of 100%, the bank is financing 96.5%, and this is using an FHA insured loan, or depending on your credit score, you can use a conventional loan at 3% down. So let's go conventional, because everybody in here has awesome credit. You have a credit score of 680 and above, which means we can go conventional loan. And just disclaimer right now, Lisa is not a lender. 6%, you go 3% down payment, and go conventional. So you're bringing, this is 100%, out of 100%, you're bringing $30 to the table. The bank is bringing $97. I'm going to ask you this question. In that scenario, you brought $30, the bank brought, you brought 30, hold on, 97, and you brought $3. I do it that way. 97, the bank's bringing 97, you brought $3. Who is more at risk at losing?
The bank.
The bank, absolutely. The bank is more at risk than losing. And so this fascinates me when I hear homeowners, first-time buyers, are obsessed with equity. You brought $3. You brought $3 to the table, and essentially your mortgage becomes a forced savings because you replaced renting, and then do a rent versus buy analysis. Because here's statistically, Evan, and you know I'm about the truth and the facts, 44% of homeowners regret buying. Why? Because nobody told them to factor in maintenance of 5% of the cost of the property annually. So not only do you have your monthly mortgage and expenses, but we have this thing called expenditures. You gotta replace your roof. You know something with the termites, or you've got a plumbing issue. You've got these big ticket items we call expenditures, which something like that wipes your equity out. Why? Because now you have to dip into where are you going to get the cash or access to maintain the property, which is now why we see properties going to deferred maintenance. So when they go from pre-foreclosure to foreclosure, we're walking into properties typically that have deferred maintenance, is because the people don't have the funds to maintain the property. Is that too heavy?
Not at all, man. Not at all. It ain't too heavy. Shit, we all dealing with some real estate, I'm pretty sure. In the comments below, I'd like for you to share, man. If you've bought a property, rented a property, or you probably rented, bought or rented a property, you're going through the property. How many guys have actually owned a home before, or owned some type of real estate before, whether it be a business that you might have owned? I'm just trying to get a landscape where we are with the people that we have. This is something I went through that process when I was very, very young, and I was like, I don't like this process. I ain't been through it again. But there's a correlation. Well, there's a correlation, right? Where we have, I think there's a lot more red tape in real estate, because it's a tangible property, than there is with me actually, buying and selling stock, which would be just, really participating in the products and services that are bringing value to the community.
So here's absolutely, why there's more red tape is because along with the gold and the real estate that is actually securing what people are trading on the stock. That's why. It's collateral. We're talking about collateral. Otherwise, we'd be talking about phantom numbers with no collateral.
Wow. She said, I regret LOL, but I'm going to figure out how to make this place make money for me. Oh.
So here's my point to that. Thank you for that honesty, by the way. Thank you for that honesty. And because this is why I quoted that statistic of 44%. And it's actually, that's general homeowners, and 37% of millennials, those in their mid 30s, also regret. So there's like true regret, because people have caught on to this movement of ownership. But Evan knows this, and I've had this discussion, which is why on my platform I do real estate literacy, is because people are they're not given all the facts. You may work with a lender that may not be giving you the truth about your down payment assistance program. So not only do you get your foot in the door, but guess what? You walk in with negative equity, because you can't sell that property, because they do shared appreciation, shared equity, meaning I gave you or gifted you $20,000, and now you have to pay me back $60,000 when you sell that property. On average, that's about all of someone's equity, unless you're in a market where it has a development happening. Like we have some pockets in LA here where there's some serious development, and I just recently closed a property that sold for over 100,000 right before this happened. And I just met with my client the other day, and she was like, "Woo, we just made it."
Yeah. Hey, let me come here, because I really want to get into this. Right, I just bought my house last year. Regrets learning. Right now, here's the thing. Now this again. This is big, because we're talking about, when I talk about money, and obviously your house or your home is the largest purchase you'll probably make in your lifetime, right?
House and car.
So that's a big decision. Then you have the vehicle, which is when I say buy, I'm talking about you're borrowing money, right? I wouldn't say vehicle next. I would say probably your education. I would say education. You borrow a lot of money to student loans and stuff like that. Then you have car.
I would say educate. So in the food chain then, or the hierarchy, definitely education, because when I see clients come in with $200,000 in student loan debt, we have to factor that in. So go ahead and continue though. So Destiny says,
Yeah, so I want to tap into some people, right? So let me ask this to our audience, guys, as relates to just owning the home, right, or getting the home, right? I think a lot of times what happens is, because we have been conditioned to say, man, own a home, and it's a big accomplishment, and we go into like, feel, man, I'm about to get my first house, or get a house, or and obviously there's shelter and stuff like that. But I believe that sometimes the heart condition, right, gets us to kind of move quite possibly against the advice of others. It's like, now I'm about to get this house. You know what I mean? Like, boom, tax time, come back, about to get this house. Like, it's like, and then like Destiny, and even like me, it's like, how many guys have had this feeling like you really, 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 I mean, really wanted something, whether it be a house, a car, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, and then when you got it, you was like, this ain't all that what it was cracked up to be. You know what I'm saying? This ain't.
I've been there. Here's the thing: as we talk about mindset when we opened up, right? Your thoughts, your desires don't go into the abyss. They get planted, and those seeds are sown, and they will come to you. So you will get what you deserve, and you deserve what you get. right?
Oh my goodness, Antoine Lauer is here, man. You was really who I've been thinking about, brother. And you're one of the reasons why we're having this show here today. And it's not just because of you, but I thought about obviously you've been doing your investing thing, and I'm wondering, I definitely want to get your take on how you feel with what we're going on right now, what kind of position how that's gonna affect what you've been doing, because at least as she's been saying, like in her state, they're calling for a cease and desist on all transactions. So it'd be interesting to if you have an opportunity to share with us what's going on with you, or what you're experiencing in the real estate world, the real estate game. If you want to join with us live here, I'm gonna put this link down here. If you got time, brother, come on and share your thoughts. Again, those that don't know, Antoine is one of our star students. He is just phenomenal. If he's able to come on, you'll see why. But let's go get another comment here. My 2 properties are rentals, a fourplex and a duplex. I have been asked what I will do if people don't want to pay rent because of the current state of the global and national climate. This is real. Is it now?
I don't know, Reginald, if Reginald got on when I was qualifying that this moratorium over mortgages currently does not apply to multifamily. He owns a multifamily. So he currently, because there really are no protections for what we call investments. So when the market crashed, and pay attention, you guys, right now, when the market crashed the last time, the people that were helped and bailed out were the people that had the question is it your primary residence? Is it the home you live in? Because if you then were trying to get relief over income property, a vacation property, there were no options for you. They said, you know what? You mismanaged that. You mismanaged it. It's on you. So guess what? Sell it. Short sale it.
Man.
It's the hard facts. That's the hard facts. Why? Because we go back to disclosures, addendums, and advisories, right? That investing in real estate is a risk. Market conditions are not guaranteed. That's literally a disclosure in a packet that goes, and that's required by states.
So everybody putting the comments on investing is risky. I want to play on that, right? Investing is risky, whether that's real estate, stocks, or anything. But also not investing is risky. right? Like investing is risky, and so we get that piece, and we might say, hey, I want to go with the risk, but also understand that not investing is risky, right? Not investing is risky. You try not investing and see how long before you can retire. Try not investing. So it's like one of those things, like choose. It's this meme that says choose your hard. You gotta choose your hard.
Right. I also want to add to Reginald, because he said something it's very different from what the more.
He got another comment. Oh, I'm loving the way you're presenting your explanation. Can you respond a little bit more on how Redfin, Zillow, and other situations by these companies can impact single sellers and buyers during the upcoming year or two? Also, how they impact the stock market, especially the lenders. Oh, this is good stuff. Good questions.
Yeah, so he's definitely listening, because I said remind me to come back to that, because I want to talk about that. So let me go ahead and explain what these companies have been doing. They've been bamboozling people, thinking that you're saving on real estate commissions. So they essentially waged a war on the real estate agent or broker professional, because they wanted to come in and monopolize the industry. Of course, new kids on the block, they want to come in, we're the hottest thing, which is why we saw purple bricks come and go very quickly. But like you, Evan, who you pay attention to, your mentor, Buffett, he also talked about their business models were not going to withstand a market shift. Why? Because they're using technology to measure algorithms that are not practical. They're not real. Like, I'm 10 toes to the concrete. I'm talking to, and I'm hearing, I'm seeing, I'm active. I see I'm seeing escrows being canceled, things being pulled out. And guess what? Redfin and Zillow announced that they were ending their iBuyer programs. Let's talk about the iBuyer programs. They came in with a system that said, hey, we can offer you a cash offer, close in 7 days as ill, close to, almost close to retail. They weren't as a lowball offer. But here's what was happening. I did a presentation on this. You can find it on my YouTube channel. If you go to LaSuperagent, look for Beware, iBuyer Beware, and check that out in more detail. But I'll talk about it here. Those companies, not all of them, but this is why that was a great question, Regina. I appreciate when people pay attention. Great question. How is it going to impact the market? Well, because buyers currently are not paying attention that those companies using the iBuyer business model for I'll pay you cash in 7 days as is, because I'm going to turn around and flip it to a new buyer. People are not, and I've been trying to reach out to news outlets and tell them and talk to them, but right now it's a pay to play, as we know with the media. Pay to play. You pay them, they'll feature your story and they'll glorify you that you're the best thing since sliced bread. But guess what they're doing? They're robbing the equity in properties. And how are they doing that? They're not pulling permits. They are not pulling permits. So they'll take a 2-bedroom, 1 bath, open up walls, new plumbing, new roof, HVAC system. You will structurally change the layout of the property, put it back on the market for a very high price. A buyer goes, oh my gosh, this is amazing. It's beautiful. It's what I wanted. And guess what? You have addendums that you sign, the as is disclosures in your due diligence. And all you need is a neighbor, because this is true life. I use a case study about this. All you need is a neighbor to say, you know what? I saw that they were doing work on that house, and it looks like they put a new roof. Guess what happens? The city comes knocking at your door. Hey, we noticed that the integrity of this home has been changed. It says this is a 1940s house, but you've got a very brand new, modern, contemporary structure. We don't see you have permits on file. So guess what? You now are saddled with fines and the liability to cure pulling permits and paying for them. They're robbing the equity, which means they're advancing the equity and you thinking you're getting a deal, but they're screwing you with no grease.
Oh, how does that feel? Remind me of Rounders. Oh Lord, wow, this is good. Investing is risky, man. Oh my goodness, we got so much to talk about here. So here's the deal, Lisa. As I mentioned to you before, you guys that's in the comments or watching us here live, man, you share your thoughts with me. I'm trying to get Lisa to commit, right, to a weekly stock and real estate show. I said Friday seems to be the best day. Friday around noon, because we need to talk about stocks, but that's okay because we're gonna talk about what y'all want to talk about, and that's cool. And this is the wealth game. So will you guys help me? If you guys agree, you're saying, hey, we need more of this, right? If you're saying we need more of this and you're watching right now live, I need you to put in the comments, so I want some more, I want some more, I want some more. And maybe that'll encourage Lisa, because I'm down for it. Maybe that'll get Lisa to say, you know what? Because the people want some more, and we on to something here with this wealth game, stocks and real estate, financial education for the nation. And I'm the certified financial educator on the investment education on the stock side, and she's the real estate educator over there on the real estate side. I'm telling you, if we get, I believe, if we get at least 10 out of the 15 people who are watching right now to put in the comments below, I want some more, I want some more, I want some more, just maybe she'll say yes. I'm just saying. Can we get 10 people? We got 15 people watching right now. We've been doing this live free for the community, so y'all can get this information. Y'all can't say nobody's been teaching it to you. Nobody's going to give it to you. We giving it to you. You didn't have to pay for it. That's just your time. I'm just saying. Can we get 10 people, all right, to help me to encourage Lisa, say, you know what? It's that important, and the people want it. Right, and so we're gonna give them some more. How about that? All right, let's see. Can we get 10 people to do that? Right, y'all gonna help me out. Y'all want some more? Right, y'all ask the questions. Right, but can y'all help with the Can y'all help with the sale? I need y'all to help me with the sale. The sale of this show to the SuperAgent. She busy, I'm busy, but for us to make the time for people who want it, just maybe. Let me see how many we get, man. Let me see how many we get, man. Wow. So what do you do with the cat? I got questions, man. We're gonna come back to you. Oh, come on, say let go. Okay, so Destiny wants some more. Like Destiny wants some more. Oh, okay. Phyllis says we need some more. She said we need some more. That's two. Okay, so we got going on. Okay, that's the same person, but she did it twice. I'm gonna count that as three. And he has no question. We got two more questions over here. All right, okay, we got four. We're trying to get to 10, guys. We need 10. We need 10. I'm saying we got 4. We need 10. Y'all asking questions. Do y'all want some more? Right? Do y'all want some more? Right? Okay, that's 5. We got 5. We need 5 more, man. Please participate. I can't do this by myself. It's a village. It takes a village, right? It takes a village. Okay, that's 6. We got from Mr. LJ Walker. Thanks so much. Right, we want some more. That's 7. We need 3 more, man. Come on, people. We got 14 people watching. We done got to 7. All right, don't be that guy. Don't be that girl that said I'm gonna watch, but I'm not gonna participate. I don't want to put nothing in the comments because I don't want nobody to know that I'm here. But I do want to get this information. But I don't want y'all to know I'm getting this information. I'm gonna be incognito. Makes no sense. All right, there we go. That's 8. That's 8, man. Mr. Antoine Lowry coming in. I'm in this time. I want to join in, but the hospital, my son. Okay, gotcha. No problem. We bring you in next time, Antoine. We got 8. We got 8. Looking for 2 more. You want some more? Okay, that's 9. Okay, come on now, people. Come on now. We just need one. I just need 1 more, and then I can pop the question. Okay, if y'all give me 1 more, then I can pop the question to the SuperAgents. Can I get 1 more, please? Just help. Okay. He said his wife said that she wants some more. Okay, I'm gonna go with that. Man, thanks so much, Miss Adams. I'm telling you, because I was, Lord. All right. So super. We got people that can't even type, or just saying they want some more. And so
appreciate it. Thank you.
So what do you think about a weekly stocks and real estate show, right? To talk about what's going on, and also to look at some things that we should consider for the future, and try to answer as many questions as we can, because we know we can't get to every question because there's so many questions. Obviously, guys, I want you to understand that some questions require consultation. It just is what it is, right? Or we can bring some other people on, like Antoine Lowry, hopefully get a Miss Roberta Hoskin, LJ Walker to come in here and participate with us as well, to be able to share different insights on different things that they're doing, because a lot of us are doing different strategies. But what say you, SuperAgent, to having a stock and real estate show for the people?
I will say under one condition. I have a condition. Under one condition, I can commit to the weekly with the condition that we stay mindful that information in this time changes daily. So this conversation, is relevant as of today, what's happening. So it will require for you to tune in so you know, because literally I showed a property on Friday afternoon. By 7 o'clock Friday evening, it was very clear that all activities should be ceased. Just like that. And you guys are seeing this happen. And I've been privy to conversations. And so I want to, also want to respect the industry to what I hear, what I'm privy to. And so when I share it, it's not for panic, it's for clarity. It's so that we can stay focused, and so that I can support what is happening, because what I've seen time and time again is we're the last ones. We're normally the ones that are hurt big time.
So let me try to tackle this question. So Frederick, you said, is it a good time to take a home equity line of credit? My first thing is going to be why. Why are you doing it? All right. So, what's the purpose? What are you looking to accomplish? What's your goal with borrowing against your home? Like, what's your goal? What are you looking to accomplish? Some people use their home equity line of credit as a debt consolidation tool. And then if it's for that reason, okay, well, now we need to take a look at your debts. Does it make sense? Is it going to really save you a lot of money in the long run for you to tie everything up into your house? For some, that's a good strategy. For others, it's not so much, right? So why? Why? That's very. We first let's determine.
Or do you need it? Or do you need it as reserves?
Or do you need it as as reserves? So we have to kind of talk about. Add a few things in to kind of figure out if it's a good. It's not what. Here's the thing: it's not whether it's a good time to take a homemaker line of credit. Is it a good time for you?
For you, very right. I always say that, Evan. You're right. When people say, "Oh, should I buy?" Does it make financial sense for you and your household? That's the question. I have a client right now that's using a down payment assistance program, and he was so concerned about equity, which is why I was on that topic today. Is because there was a concern about how low do you think it's go, the shift, this and that. And I said, well, let me just ask you a question. Are you flipping? No, you're going to take $2,000 in rent and replace it into a mortgage. And so now you get to build on equity. You can leverage that property. So I always talk strategies and case by case for that individual. Some people everyone has a different life plan and life design. And so this is why it's not an all one size fits all, which is why what we see with those business models with those other companies is going to hurt them because they use a one size fits all business model.
So today, guys, again, a new concept, and I'll tell you, I've been chomping at the bit with, okay, if I can just give me a all-star real estate person to combine with me, we can really have an awesome show and bring some awesome information to our community. So I'm so glad that we have that, that we'll be able to do that for you. And here's the deal: we want to make sure that you're getting great value out of it, right? We're all busy people, and we all make time for what's important to us, and so. Is financial education, particularly stock education or investing education, or particularly real estate education, is it important enough to you that you'll make time to get it? Right? Is it important enough to you that you'll make time to get it? Let me give an example. So I had a lady hit me up and say, hey, I see that you're teaching about blah, 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 and I really want, to come to your next class. I said, okay, well, here's the information for the next class, right? Then I hit her up after the class. I don't know whether she was here or not. I said, hey, did you make it to the class? She said, no, I was tied up with grocery shopping and did something else. And it told me that it just simply said you didn't really, really want it, right? Because when you really, really want something, you make time for it. You've been like, man, we got to get to the house. I mean, shoot, we got class. That's what people do when they really, really want something. And so even you must be careful of people that come into your inbox or come into your space, trying to get some of your time, and then you notice that they're not as serious. They want you to be more serious about their time than they are about yours.
Right.
You understand that? This is business, man. This is how this stuff goes. So then if she hit me back and say, hey, when's the next one? You know what I said, at least I said, hey, why don't you go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel? That's it. You say you worried about the next one. You couldn't make the last one. I don't doubt that you'll be the next one either. Right? People
accountability.
When people show you who they are, believe them. Okay? So in the comments below, I'd like for you to share
something. We have folks showed up.
So in the comments below, I'd like for you to share something that you learned today, beautiful people. Again, we don't do this just to do this. We do this to make a difference, and hopefully we've made a difference in your life today. And you can show that with your feedback. There's a good quote from my mentor, Mr. Warren Buffett, who says that price is what you pay, but value is what you get. So you think about the price you paid to be here. It didn't cost you a dime of your money, but it cost a whole lot of your time, right? And your time is more valuable than money. And so we don't take your time lightly at all. But as you think about the time that you've exchanged, everybody put in console exchange. You've exchanged your time for some value. Well, what is that value that you receive? I'm simply asking you this question. Was it worth your time and why? Was it worth your time and why? Go ahead and share that in the comments below. And I know that we talk much faster than you type, and we'll give you some time to type that, and we will read that feedback to us as you guys pop that stuff up. Lisa, what you got going on, man? If people need to know about what you got coming up, Obviously we got your YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook account.
Yeah, listen, yeah, tons of stuff. I mean, I do monthly webinars. This month I rescheduled the webinar we were having this month for called Understanding Appraisals. I think the easiest thing to just get connected with me is go to my Facebook page and YouTube at LaSuperagent, so you can stay up to date. I'm constantly doing educational. If you're an industry professional, I do trainings for you, about 2 to 3. Because of the stay in place orders or stay safer at home orders, I've now moved, which we already have it online, but now during this time, all the workshops that were scheduled, the live workshops that were happening locally, they now have been all scheduled for webinars. So definitely get connected at facebook.com/LaSuperagent or youtube.com/LaSuperagent, and you could stay in touch with me and what I'm doing through Ready Set Real Estate, which is our real estate education platform for our general population. And I am a professional agent trainer where we do industry trainings as well. So all I say is get in where you fit in, where it feels right for you. I know some folks are in here are loyal supporters, and so they have access to our exclusive monthly webinars. So even if they don't make it on the live, they do get those webinars in their inbox. And again, I'm constantly feeding you with the things that you need to know, the things you should be paying attention to. And yeah, love to connect with you and learn how I can support you. And also, if you do need consultation, so I saw some questions specifically about whether I should buy or whether I should sell a home equity line. Definitely get connected with me for consultations.
Absolutely. And as for me, guys, y'all didn't get to hear me talk about stocks much. That's cool.
I know.
I've been talking about it for, quite a while. So you guys already know what it is. But same thing, guys, I got quite a few things that you might want to take advantage of. We do have the Money and Power Show each and every day, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you have not seen that show, shame on you. But that is free financial education, bringing other experts in to be able to share their expertise in their industry. I just rolled out 30-minute money solutions coaching. There's a couple things with that. So if you're in a situation where you don't know where your income is going to be coming in because of what we're dealing with right now, you've lost your job, or you might lose your job, or you're simply saying, you know what, I need to fix the money problem because I help people fix broke. Well, what I decided to do is give people a 30-minute consultation to figure out where they are so I can be able to try to help them at least get some initial ideas on what they can do to fix the money problem in their life. Because here's the deal, guys. I really need you to fix the money problem, because you fix the money problem, I really might make sure that your kids are playing with my kids. They all rich, right? They all rich, right? But I also just want to make sure that you understand I'm my brother's keeper. So I will take the time out to have a conversation, which I will take the time out to be able to instill some hope and some faith and some trust, right? Because you are a genius. You have greatness on the inside of you. Sometimes you just need somebody to help you pull it out and help you to see it. And I'll be able to do that for you as well, be able to help you figure out multiple streams or whatever it is that you got going on. So if you're saying, hey, a lot of the comments earlier said, I didn't have no parents to talk to me about this stuff. No one talked about money. Well, we got a financial educator right here who talks about money all the time, and we can have people have been taking advantage of that. You can just go to the website. Go to my Facebook page. There's a little button that says book, B-O-O-K, and it'll bring you to our appointment schedule, and you can actually submit your request for a 30-minute consultation for the Money Solutions Coaching, and that is absolutely free. And the last thing, guys, everything ain't free. So we do have a membership, and that will be the Black Billionaires Club. So if you're saying, you know what, I love what you guys are doing. If you don't know, we are actually BBC members. You want to be a part, you want to get intimate with us, you want to get close to us, you want to start having these next level conversations all the time. Well, you actually join the Black Billionaires Club. Why is that? Well, Black Billionaires Club is based off a book that I wrote, and it's about the Black billionaires, the 12 Black billionaires, the richest Black people in the world today. They're still alive, how they built their wealth. And as we study those billionaires, we find that there are 3 things in particular that are common across the board. Number 1, they read. So guess what? In our club, we have a book club. Number 2, they build business. Guess what? In our club, we have business development. And then number 3, guess what they do? They invest. And guess what we have in our club? We have an investment club. And the key thing is we do it together. Everybody put a console together. We do it together. our community must begin to understand that we stop doing stuff by ourselves. You might start it just like Forrest Gump, but you don't have to finish that journey by yourself, right? Stop doing everything by yourself. Join a group, get you a posse, and let's mount up on the road to financial freedom, okay? On the road to financial freedom. Hey, here we go, man. We got Destin Rob said it was helpful to learn about some of the things, major changes and potential impacts in the market and so much more. Absolutely, man. Exchange from Destin Rob. That's right. Insights and changes. Absolutely, Miss Phyllis George. Thanks so much. Armani Bass gave us the thumbs up. I appreciate you. Thanks so much. I appreciate it. We love you too, man. Hey, I appreciate you. Thanks so much, man. Freddie Adam. BBC is in the house. Absolutely. BBC, the Black Billionaires Club, is in the house. And we do that thing together. And for those that want that website, let me pop that up for you. It's just simply www.theblackbillionairesclub.com. www.theblackbillionairesclub.com. Miss Elisa, any last words for the peeps before we end our broadcast here today?
Yeah, so for those of you who are new to me and haven't heard, I definitely, when we opened this, Evan asked me what was the definition of real estate, and I gave you the technical definition. But one of the largest pieces of real estate, the largest and the most infinite piece of real estate, is here. It sits between your temples, because what we see in existence was co-created in the mind first, and then it physically manifested into our external world. So as we are going through shifting times and a reset, be mindful of what is happening in your internal world and what is it that you want to manifest in your external world. So if you still want to build wealth, a portfolio, you can do that, and be reminded that millionaires and multimillionaires are created in down markets, are created in recessions. So the more information you have, and you study demographic trends and behaviors, which is what I do, I pay attention to that, what's happening. So I'm not operating from a place of fret, because I've been there, done that, we've seen it. Especially we're people that are resilient. So we'll get through this, and we'll get through this together. We'll see you next week, you guys.
Absolutely, man. Thanks so much again, Miss Puerto, and the SuperAgents up in the house, up in here. I want to say thanks so much to our audience. Thanks so much for everyone that liked. Thanks so much for the people that shared. Thanks so much for your participation. It all adds up, and it all makes a difference. My beautiful people, this is ERGJ, and I want you guys to remember this, that it takes a village. It starts with us. Let's build as we climb together. We all we got, beautiful people. Matter of fact, we all we need. And thank God that that's more than enough. Until next episode, you know what time it is. Mr. DJ, hit the music.
The new Black Wall Street. Thanks you for joining the show. We gave a lot of great tips, but it's time to go. Take the knowledge we shared, hope you use it and grow. We'll see you all there in the next episode.